Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're getting into two really key tools for website security: SAN certificates and wildcard certificates.
Right, two big ones.
Yeah, and our mission really is to cut through the jargon. We want to understand what these SSL TLS certificates are, how they actually work, and maybe most importantly, how they're different. So you can quickly figure out, which one fits what you need.
Helping you make that choice.
Exactly. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll have those aha moments. You'll get a clearer picture, a kind of shortcut to being well-informed on securing multiple domains and subdomains.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start with SAN certificates. SAN stands for Subject Alternative Name.
Right.
And basically, a SAN certificate is an SSL certificate that can do something pretty neat. It secures multiple distinct domain names or subdomains, all with just one single certificate.
Like a multi-tool for domains.
Yeah, kind of like a master key, but for a very specific list of doors, if that makes sense.
Got it.
What makes them really useful is, well, their flexibility. You can list a whole bunch of host names in that subject alternative name field.
And it's not just subdomains of the same domain.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key thing. It can be totally different domains, like example.com and example.org,
Okay.
or subdomains across those different domains.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on the certificate, even IP addresses or email addresses.
Wow, okay.
So yeah, they're super valuable for organizations that have, lots of different services or sites that all need HTTPS, but they want to manage it with just one certificate.
Makes sense.
So like just as an example, you could have one SAN certificate covering example.com.
Oh, okay.
And www.example.com, maybe mail.example.com.
Standard stuff.
Right, but then also admin.example.org.
Different domain entirely.
Yep. And maybe even something like ap.anotherdomain.net,
Mm-hmm.
all on the same certificate.
It's quite a range.
It is, and you can usually add quite a few, typically, 25, sometimes over 100 SAN entries. Depends on the certificate authority, the CA, and the type of certificate.
Right, the provider matters.
Oh, and you might also hear them called UCC certificates.
Unified Communication Certificate.
Exactly, especially if you're working with like Microsoft Exchange or similar environments.
Yeah, that's a common term there. And it really speaks to how these SAN certificates fit into today's, complex digital world. Most organizations aren't just running one simple website anymore.
No, definitely not.
They've got this whole web, this ecosystem of services, apps, maybe different brands, each potentially needing its own domain. And a SAN certificate gives you this central, flexible way to secure all of that. It's not just convenient, it actually changes how you manage certificates. Think about it, instead of juggling, say, 10 renewal dates.
Oh, yeah.
You have one. That's a huge time saver, a big boost in efficiency, frees up people to focus on, other security tasks.
That consolidation does sound incredibly useful. But playing devil's advocate for a second, if you have all those domains tied to one certificate, isn't that a bigger risk? If that one SAN certificate gets compromised, is that a single point of failure?
That's a really smart question. And yes, you're right. The convenience comes with that trade-off.
Yep.
If that single certificate's private key is breached, then yes, all the domains listed on it are potentially compromised.
Right.
So it makes things like strong key generation, secure storage, and careful access control even more critical than usual.
So diligence is key.
Absolutely. A common mistake is maybe underestimating that ongoing management, making sure all the listed domains are still needed, tracking that single expiry date carefully, rotating keys properly. But if you follow security best practices rigorously, the benefits usually outweigh that risk.
That's a really important perspective. Okay, so SANs give you that precision across a diverse list of names.
Yeah.
But what if your main thing is scaling within just one domain?
Yeah.
Lots of services under one brand name.
Right, different scenario.
That's where wildcard certificates come in. They offer a different kind of power.
A broader stroke, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly. A wildcard certificate secures a domain and all of its subdomains, but only at a single level. And it does this using that special character, the asterisk.
The wild card.
Right. Placed at the beginning of the domain name, like .example.com. Think of it like a key that opens every room, but only on one specific floor of a building.
Okay, good analogy.
So the main feature here is it covers an unlimited number of subdomains.
Unlimited, okay.
And this is the really crucial bit, only one level deep. That asterisk has to be the first part, the leftmost part of the domain name field in this certificate.
Got it. .domain.com.
Exactly. So if you have a wildcard for .example.com, it'll secure www.example.com, mail.example.com, blog.example.com, anything directly under example.com.
Any number of them.
Any number, as long as it fits that .example.com pattern.
Okay.
Now, here's where people often get tripped up, so let's be super clear on what it won't secure.
Right, the exceptions.
Okay, first, it won't secure the main domain itself, example.com, sometimes called a naked or apex domain.
Unless you add it separately.
Precisely, unless it's explicitly added as a SAN entry on that same certificate, which some CAs allow. But the wildcard part itself doesn't cover it.
Okay, important distinction.
And critically, it won't secure subdomains.
Yeah.
So something like sub.blog.example.com, nope. That's more than one level deep from the asterisk.
Too deep.
Too deep. And obviously, it won't secure a completely different domain like example.net. It's only for the domain specified after the asterisk.
Yeah, that one level deep thing, it's not just like a minor detail. It's fundamental to how these things work.
Right.
That asterisk position, it's tied directly to how the browser validates the certificate's authenticity for that specific level of subdomain. If you try to use a .example.com wildcard to secure, say, secure.admin.example.com, it won't work. The browser won't trust it. You'll get that scary, not secure warning.
Because the pattern doesn't match correctly.
Exactly. The cryptographic validation fails. And overlooking this, it can cause real headaches. You might build out your services thinking you're covered, then realize you need deeper subdomains, and suddenly your wildcard isn't enough.
And you have to reissue or rethink things.
Right. I actually had a client once, they launched this big new microservice platform, all excited, using just one wildcard.
Oh.
Yeah, within like a week, they hit this exact problem. Some of their new services needed that deeper nesting, service.team.example.com kind of thing.
No.
It was a mad scramble to get new certificates, reconfigure everything. So yeah, understanding that limitation up front is vital for planning.
That really drives the point home. Okay, so we've looked at them individually, SANs for specific lists, wildcards for broad coverage at one level. But let's put them head to head. What really sets them apart when you compare them directly?
Okay, let's bring it down.
All right. Feature 1, securing multiple different top-level domains like example.com and example.org, SRN.
Yes, definitely. That's its core strength. No, it's tied to just one domain name structure.
Okay. Next, securing multiple subdomains under one domain, SAN.
Yes, but you have to list out each specific subdomain you want covered. www, mail, blog list them all.
Right. Granular control, wildcard.
Yes, and this is its main appeal. It covers all subdomains at that one level automatically. .example.com covers infinite subdomains like a.example.com, b.example.com, etc.
Got it. Wildcard support itself using the character.
Only wildcard certificates inherently use the asterisk for that purpose. SANs list specific names. They don't use a wildcard character in the SAN field itself.
Makes sense. What about overall flexibility? Mixing different domains, specific subdomains?
I'd say SANs are much higher flexibility. You can mix and match almost any combination of host names you need across different domains.
And wildcards.
More limited. Very powerful for its specific job one domain. Many subdomains at one level, but not flexible beyond that.
Okay, use cases. Where do they typically fit best?
Well, Essence, as we said, perfect for those multi-domain setups. Think cloud services, SaaS platforms where you might host customer sites on different domains, or complex organizations with many web properties.
Right, and wildcards.
Ideal when you have one main website or brand, yourcompany.com, but you have lots, maybe potentially unlimited subdomains for different sections or services. blog.yourcompany.com, shop.yourcompany.com, support.yourcompany.com, dev.yourcompany.com, that kind of thing.
Cost-wise, is there a general rule?
Generally, yes. SAN certificates tend to be more expensive. You're paying for that flexibility and the ability to cover multiple, potentially very different host names. The price often scales with the number of SAN names included, too.
And wildcards.
Often cheaper than a SAN, especially if you compare it to buying individual certs for many subdomains. You get unlimited subdomain coverage for that one domain for a single price.
Right. And the underlying certificate type, you mentioned UCC for SAN sometimes?
Yeah, SANs are often marketed as UCC SSL, especially in those Microsoft environments. Wildcards are typically just standard SSL TLS certificates with that special wildcard feature enabled.
Okay, that clarifies the head-to-head.
Yeah, and looking at those differences, you can see the choice isn't just, a technical detail. It's really a strategic decision about how you manage your online presence.
How so?
Well, if you anticipate having lots of different brands or separate services on distinct domains, maybe acquiring other companies, A SAN gives you a way to manage that complexity centrally.
Okay.
But if your plan is mostly to grow under your main brand, adding new features or sections as subdomains, then a wildcard offers, fantastic scalability and simplicity for that specific scenario. Your current setup and crucially your future plans, those should really guide the decision.
That's a really helpful way to frame it. So distilling that down for you, the listener, what does this mean for your projects? When should you pick which one?
Let's summarize.
Okay. You probably lean towards a SAN certificate when you need to secure several different domain names.
Like .com and .org and .net.
Exactly. Or maybe specific subdomains, but they're spread across different top-level domains.
Right.
It's also your best bet if you're securing a mix of different kinds of services, maybe your website, your email server, an API endpoint, and they have different host names. But you want one certificate to rule them all, so to speak.
Centralized management.
Right. Now, conversely, you should probably grab a wildcard certificate when your main goal is securing all the subdomains of just one single domain.
.yourdomain.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's ideal when you think you'll need an unlimited number of subdomains, now or in the future, but they'll all live directly under that main domain. One level deep.
Yeah, that one level deep caveat again. Always remember that.
Always.
And this really brings it back to thinking critically about your own situation. What factors in your environment, your roadmap, point you clearly one way or the other. Are you building one big platform, lots of subsections under one name? Or is it more like a portfolio of different things, different brands, maybe different regions needing distinct domains? Really mapping out your current structure and where you realistically see it going in the next year or two. That's absolutely key to making a choice you won't regret later.
Excellent point. Okay, now before we wrap up, we have a bonus tip, something that adds another layer to this.
Ooh, okay.
Did you know you don't always have to make a strict either choice between SAN and wildcard?
You're talking about the hybrid approach.
Exactly. You can actually get something called a SAN plus wildcard hybrid certificate. Some providers call it a multi-domain wildcard certificate.
Right. Best of both worlds, potentially.
Totally.
Wow.
It basically lets you combine the features. You can secure multiple specific domains using the SAN fields and apply wildcards to some of those domains.
So you could cover, say, example.com specifically.
Yep. And maybe another -domain.net. And also .example-services.com and .testing-area.org, all within that single certificate.
That offers some serious flexibility for really complex setups.
It really does. Especially useful if you have, say, a main corporate site plus a product site that uses lots of subdomains with a wildcard.
Yeah, my advice there, definitely ask your certificate provider about those multi-domain wildcard SSL options.
Good call.
They might not always be front and center on the pricing page, but they exist. And they can be incredibly useful, really adaptable for those complicated environments where you need both that specific name coverage and the scalability of wildcards. They can be a real game changer for some organizations.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. We've taken a pretty deep dive into SAN and wildcard certificates. Hopefully, you now have a much better handle on what they are, their unique features, in the specific situations where each one really makes the most sense.
Understanding the why behind the choice.
Exactly. This knowledge should help you make more informed decisions when you're looking at securing your websites and services, moving beyond just the definitions to how you actually apply them.
Right. And maybe something to think about as we finish up. Consider how things are evolving. The rise of complex cloud services, microservice architectures becoming more common. How might that shift the balance? Could one of these certificate types, or maybe that hybrid approach, become even more relevant in the future? And maybe reflect on your own projects. How could this deeper understanding help you plan better, perhaps using these options more effectively down the road?